joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show live on YouTube, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific time, or anytime you like, because this is YouTube. Sorry for a few glitches there. I don't know if this is the weather. I had to restart my computer before we started the show. That's why I'm a minute late or so. But thank you all for being here. And I have to give a shout out to Andreas, one of our huge supporters of the show. Andreas, $20 in the super chat. 49ers on their way to the Super Bowl. I love this new, I'm assuming that's quarterback. Reminds me of Joe Montana, Joe Cool. I love that you said Joe Cool, Andreas. My dad's name is Joe, and he has a jersey, and it says Joe Cool on the back instead of Joe Montana. So definitely the fans know that Montana's nickname was that. Also a donation, a $5 donation from James Buchanan. You guys are starting us off good today. Thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. So if you're new to YouTube and you're wondering, like, where's all this money coming from? It's in the super chat feature, and it's live. We monetize the show during the show. And so you look for the $sign. It's easy to see when you're on your laptop, desktop type of thing. Sometimes it can be a bit weird to find on the phone, but people in the chat will find you, and they'll let you know if you have any questions. It's awesome. I did win money in the lottery. I will have to say this is the most money I've ever won in the lottery. It is not the Mega Millions, but I did put more money on the Mega Millions. But yeah, I did not. I love the comments. Nikki obviously didn't make enough money to not work today. Yeah, you're absolutely right, JR. Because if I won the Mega Millions, nope, I would do the show. I would do the show with this air of not having to do the show. I want that problem. How do I continue to work each day when I don't have to work? I think I could handle doing that. I absolutely do. I do, of course, want to give a shout out to our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, who will be joining us during the show. Give Steve a call for any of your tax needs. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Click a thumbs up every single time you come to the show, please, whether it's live, whether you're watching the recording after the live show. Please click the thumbs up. It's quick. It's easy. YouTube loves it. I hate having to remind you guys about all this stuff, but we have to do it in this new age. Our Patreon is up. Be part of the cool club. How many of you made shortbread cookies this weekend? I put my new recipe in me making it exclusively for my Patreon subscribers, the Medorables that I like to call y'all. So just go to the Nikki Medoro Show.com, and our Patreon link is there. Of course, you can also donate by PayPal. That's also my email address for the show, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. It is crazy weather out there right now. I'm sure all of you know. Evacuation orders have been given. Governor Newsom, I want to play you a little bit of this press conference that he gave yesterday. But just to kind of put it in perspective, people, this is not a storm to be messing around with. All right. I mean, you guys need to be careful. So here is Governor Newsom again, just basically pleading with people to use their heads. Oh, and of course it's buffering. I'm telling you, people, I've been having some issues with my computer today.
We're anticipating
There we go.
some very intense weather coming in tomorrow evening in particular, into the early hours of Tuesday morning. And that's the imperative that we're trying to express here, is the seriousness of purpose in terms of just being safe and being thoughtful. Use your common sense. You heard that from a number of the speakers here over the course of the last few moments. And that is, don't test fate. Nancy said it well. I mean, just a foot of water and your car is floating. Half a foot of water, you're off your feet. Half a foot of water, you're losing control of your vehicle. We're seeing people go around these detours because they don't see any obstacles. They think everything is fine, and putting their lives at risk, or putting first responders' lives at risk. In the last 10 days, 12 people have lost their lives to these floods. 12 people. Again, more than have lost their lives, civilians, that is, to wildfires in the last 2 years. These floods are deadly and have now turned to be more deadly than even the wildfires here in the state of California. Common sense. Just be cautious over the course of the next week. Again, particularly the next day or two.
So yeah, I mean, it's crazy out there. You guys, let me know in the chat, what have you been seeing? So I have a home in the Sacramento area, and it is. I mean, I keep. I mean, Sacramento obviously is not too far from the Bay Area, but I follow the news very closely from up there. Not just state news, political news, but obviously this weather and the images, the stories, not just with the winds, the trees falling down. I mean, several people have been killed, like the governor just mentioned. I had a friend in the Sacramento area. They still haven't had power. Some people have been on and off since New Year's. It's really terrible out there. So if you don't have to drive, don't. I was taking the kids to school and I was going to go get gas. And I mean, a major roadway, half of it was flooded. And we're talking about, a major thoroughfare. And it's just, if you're not paying attention, you're slamming in the back of a car. And then in front of my kids' old school, I just saw this guy. He's like in total waiters, right? I'm assuming he's with, the utilities or something. He's just sitting there with a rake and trying to find, it looks so sad, just trying to find where the clog is, right? And like trying to locate it. So it's just, the roads are crazy. Yeah, JT, I'm in Placer County, very strong storm. Be careful. Absolutely. Interesting from Randy. Unfortunately, Newsom's talk won't be listened to by those who are dumb enough to drive around a road closure barricade. Yeah. And I know Kim McAllister will have a bunch of these pictures in her news, but there was this one that was just like, geez, Louise, people. I mean, if you want to know what not to drive into, it's something like this. I mean, look at that. I do love the fact that they put the life jacket on him. And I know that's for safety precautions and who knows what can happen. And it's better safe than sorry. But look at that again. Look at that car. A nice car too. I wonder if insurance really covers that. I don't know. How do you explain that to Geico, Allstate or whatever your insurance company is? Now, again, an evacuation warning had been issued from Saturday to Tuesday. There's a flood watch. They're saying 2 to 3 inches of water in the valley, 3 to 6 inches of water in the hills, up to 8 to 10 inches in the Santa Cruz Mountains and Big Sur coast, widespread flooding, multiple mudslides, landslides, impassable roads. And then the rivers and the creeks are just going to rise rapidly. So this was issued yesterday, and I'm trying to find if it's expired, but this was part of the Pacheco Pass River Basin. Now, if you know this area, El Toro Road south of Highway 152 to Bloomfield Avenue, Lover's Lane between Shore Road and Highway 152. I know people that live in this area. If you're near the Uvis Reservoir, south of the reservoir, including 1,000 Trails RV Park, Uvis Pines RV Park. I mean, and we had that tragic story of the tree that fell on that mobile home and killed that 2-year-old. I mean, mobile home, RVs, they're susceptible to these things more than homes are, even though it's just as dangerous. But yeah, so you definitely need to check the warnings, the evacuation orders where you live. The Russian River is expected to crest early tomorrow. This is in Guerneville. It was just above 33 feet. And so, yeah, it's nonstop. And this rain isn't supposed to stop until the end of next week? We need it. I know. Every time I'm like, oh, we need it. Oh, we don't. We need it. Just not all at the same damn time. Let me get to some of these comments in the chat because I just want to know what you guys are experiencing. Tom writes in, I was visiting my grandmother in Sacramento at a rehab, was absolutely pouring there on Saturday with the high winds on top of that. A big rig rolled over. Yeah, those high profile trucks and vehicles and things like that. That's what that means. High winds topple you over. Oh, they're getting a break though in Napa, according to Richard. That's good. John says, can we stop praying for rain now? No, pray for the rain. Just, not all at the same time. Allow the ground to absorb it, dry out a little bit. But, this is California. It's all extremes. Let's see what else. Flooding is worse, according to Al Anonymous. During droughts, water runs off rather than being absorbed into the ground because the ground is dry. It's hard. It's, also a lot of the cement. We don't build our cities up. We don't build our communities up to absorb all of this water, to catch all of this water, right? That's what always pisses me off. We get so much rain and we just don't have enough storage. We don't. And it's ridiculous. Oh, I didn't know about this story. I don't think I heard about this story from Tom again. The 19-year-old who hydroplaned in Vacaville last Friday and hit a light pole. Unfortunately, she did not make it. Oh, I think I do remember Kim talking about that. Oh, that's awful. Yeah, and Al Anonymous also wrote in broken mailbox, broken canopy, flooded backyard. Yeah, and Jim, just what I was saying, we need better drainage to catch all of this water. I mean, that's what we need. My mom was so stoked. So she has in her backyard like a greenhouse. It's really cute. It's just a cute little, I guess you can call it an ADU, although it's too small for someone to live in it. But it's a greenhouse because she's a master gardener. And they painted it to look just like their house. So it's really cute. But they put gutters on it. And they put gutters on it. I want to say, I don't think it was last year. It might have been the year before. They didn't need it. There was no rain. They were like, and then it went into a rain barrel. And so she's really excited that her rain barrel is actually filling up. So we'll see how quickly it takes to completely fill up. But yeah, it's nuts. Extreme winds knocked out power in Sacramento. I mean, I think they were saying 65-mile-per-hour winds. Nuts. More than 300,000 customers lost power. The Sacramento and Stockton school districts canceled classes today because of the lingering power outages. And it's about this isn't even the worst of it. Like you just heard the governor say a few moments ago, the worst of it is supposed to come tonight into tomorrow. So please just be careful. Please just, if you don't have to travel, don't. I know my husband, thankfully I was talking to him because he normally works outside, right? He's an HVAC technician. So he's up on roofs and things like that. I'm like, I hope you're inside. It's like, yeah, I think there'll be some work for me inside and sitting in his car doing paperwork and things like that. But it is crazy. Oh, Karen writes in Hawaii, we capture rainwater from the roof and store it in a 10,000 gallon tank. Californians need to build homes with this system. Absolutely. I mean, people are building their own, like my mother is doing, right? Like my parents are doing. But still, it's just, we need to find a way to capture it, to use it. We waste so much. And as a state that prides themselves on trying to lead the way and in being environmentally friendly and things like that, we're really dropping the ball a lot on ways in which we can, let's just take water, conserve more water and store more water. And if it has to be on an individual or a neighborhood basis, I understand obviously dams and reservoirs and things like that are on a large scale. But if we can figure out, like, look, store your water, use your water, brings down your water bill. It just seems that we should be able to do this better. And we just aren't. So our heart goes out to everybody. We will continue to monitor it. Kim McAllister will be covering it in her news as well. And yeah, send in pictures, send in video, send in anything, and we'll throw it up on the show just so people know what's going on out there. Yeah, and I think Kim also showed this in her news. There was a mudslide on Highway 17, which you would totally anticipate. Like I mentioned, I mean, up to 10 inches, of water very, very quickly. And so, to Justin and other people that I know that live and work in that area that are fans of the show, please be careful. It's very dangerous. And we need to be mindful that Mother Nature, she's the one that decides all this. She holds all the cards and you don't want to mess with her. Okay. So who else was bummed that it's Speaker Kevin McCarthy? I mean, part of me knew it was going to happen. I mean, who else was it going to be? I mean, I'm glad it wasn't Jim Jordan. I just, right? You feel me, right? He's such an asshat. Snarky little beep. But yes. So he has become Speaker of the House. Now today, he's going to be, it's his first real full day of having power, although it's weakened power. It's very much weakened power. He needs to pass a package of House rules that basically keep people in order. He made a number of concessions, and this happened Friday into Saturday. He said in one of his speeches, now this is at 1:00 in the morning on Saturday, as Speaker of the House, my ultimate responsibility is not to my party. Our responsibility is to our country. You are so full of crap, Kevin. Your only interest is you, in my opinion. He sucks. So he has become the 55th Speaker of the House. This, of course, following a huge challenge that got physical at some points. It was crazy to see some of the maneuvering, altercations that happened. It's just, yeah, exactly, Eric. Let's see how long McCarthy lasts. I'm betting it'll be longer than Britain's prime minister, but not by much. I mean, yeah, because one of the concessions he gave is it takes one person to challenge him from speaker. Yeah, he gave it all away, Vilma. Let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. Hi, Kim. I hope you're okay. I know we were just talking about the weather, and I know you're going to be following it very closely, but
Yeah.
the speakership was nuts. I mean, we were enjoying watching everybody not vote for Kevin McCarthy, but when it actually happened, the night that it happened, I mean, people were going nuts. Here is asshat herself, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You can't really tell from the, but it has the initials DT, which people are saying is Donald Trump, on the phone. On the phone, listen to Donald Trump, who was telling Republicans to vote for Kevin McCarthy. And so, of course, because he did that, you know what Kevin McCarthy had to do. And let's just watch it now. I'm sorry if you're eating lunch right now, but here, where's the video? I think it's right here. Okay, look at this. I mean, he's so annoying. Oh, hold on. No, that's not the video. This is the video. I want to show you the right video because it goes to show again, this is who Kevin McCarthy is. This is it. All right. Hold on to your lunches, people. Oh, of course, there's going to be a little bit of an ad. So again, Kevin McCarthy became Speaker of the House Friday night into Saturday morning, like around 1:00 in the morning. Marjorie Taylor Greene and others kept promoting the fact that Donald Trump was supporting Kevin McCarthy.
But I do want to especially thank President Trump.
Blech!
I don't think anybody should doubt his influence. He was with me from the beginning. Somebody wrote the doubt of whether he was there, and he was all in. He would call me, and he would call others. And he really was, I was just talking to him tonight, helping get those final votes. What he's really saying, really for the party and the country, that we have to come together.
Shut up.
We have to focus on the economy. We've got to focus, make our borders secure. We got to do so much work to do, and he was a great influence to make that all happen.
No.
So thank you, President Trump.
Ugh.
Did he make through what happened on the floor here? Heading into the 14th ballot, you thought you had the votes. Suddenly you were surprised. There was a heated confrontation on the floor. You had an exchange with Matt Gaetz.
It wasn't a heated one between Matt and I, no.
Bull.
What I was telling him is I'd rather win on the 15th.
You're so full
we
of
went to another
crap.
ballot.
He is
That
so
was a
full
joke,
of it.
but you didn't catch it. No, what happened was it became a tie. And I really think Matt had talked to me before. Matt really wanted to get everybody there. And so look, through all of this, people's emotions go up and down. And at the end of the night, Matt got everybody there from the point that nobody voted against the other way. So it actually helped unite people.
But what changed from them going from voting against you to voting present on the next vote? Was it President Trump specifically?
Well, President Trump talked to a lot, but I also think it's them and wanting to make this conference united and work together. So I thanked them for that. And Matt worked hard on that as well.
Yeah, whatever, Kevin. He's again kowtowing to the most extreme within his party. And this is what we're going to have more of. He has no power. He has given all of that up. And
I wonder what he promised. What'd you promise Matt Gaetz for that?
yeah, I mean, now Gaetz, of course, was really just soaking it in. So on the 14th ballot, McCarthy totally thought he had the votes, but he didn't because Matt Gaetz or voted president. It's kind of convoluted, but finally he fell in line. And it ended up being a tie. And then finally it fell in line on that 15th vote. So then, of course, Matt Gaetz gets what Matt Gaetz wants, which is more attention. So here he is again talking about why he did what he did and whether it was worth it. Oh, damn it. I had all these friggin' queued up and now it's all starting all over again. I apologize. But yeah, Matt Gaetz worked his tail off in order to kind of be this thorn in McCarthy's side and to try and get what he wants. And he knows what it is. Oh, here we go. Let's listen in.
Rounds to elect a speaker. Absolutely. We got concessions that really were being rejected as early as Monday when it comes to being able to read legislation.
I mean, he really does look like Beavis and Butthead, whichever one it is. It's fine. But yeah, look at that face. Okay, sorry.
In 72 hours before its adoption, individual appropriations bills, and ultimately what we negotiated ensures that we will never again have a circumstance like this omnibus spending legislation, because bills will have to comport to a single subject. There will be germanity requirements on amendments. And so it's going to be an open process, a transparent process. I'm thrilled at where the House of Representatives is today.
You were quoted as saying the construct of these rules concessions functionally turn the speakership into a ceremonial position. Do you mean that?
Well, Speaker McCarthy is our speaker, and long live the speaker. I look forward to working closely with him, but he did agree, to his great credit, to democratize power to the membership. Oftentimes, these committees that decide what bills come to the floor, what the spending paradigm is, they're controlled just by people loyal to the speaker. Now what we have is a real representation of all of the different viewpoints within our conference. On the Rules Committee, on the Appropriations Committee, we fought hard to get agreements to have conservatives on those committees, to have our budget hawks on appropriations, and I can't wait to see what we're able to do when we unlock the potential of all of our members going forward.
What about the concern that this delayed process weakened him? And to recap, we've got a Democrat in the White House. We've got Democrats running the United States Senate. Don't you need him to be as strong as possible?
Well, I think the way to have a strong Republican position on a lot of these issues is to have strong Republicans on the most relevant committees. And I don't really get the critique that taking from Tuesday to Friday to work this out puts the Republican majority in peril. I mean, you know, Mike, that in the summer, the entire Congress takes like 6 weeks off where we're not even around at all. So to take 4 days to figure out who's going to be second in line to the presidency and to ensure that we have a House of Representatives that is a fighting force going to check the Biden administration, absolutely worth it.
Boo. I mean, well, what do you think about what he said there? What is your biggest concern regarding Kevin McCarthy, not only as speaker, but having some of these more conservative, far-right members on Rules Committee, on the Appropriations Committee? I feel like it's just going to lead to more gridlock. I don't see how they get anything done when there's going to be so much bickering within the GOP, let alone trying to get Democrats on their side.
Yeah, I think he is going to be beholden to a group of people that are unreasonable and on the edge of what is sane, and he's made a mistake in dealing with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that he wants his party unified, but I think he probably would have been better to go to Democrats that are a little more fiscally conservative or maybe socially conservative and just kind of deal with that edge rather than this edge. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and it is frustrating. Now, I'm sure many of you, and I had posted this on my social media feeds. Oh, where did it go? Let me see if I can get it up, because it's frustrating to see people, you know, bickering and fighting and not taking it seriously. And so it did take a long time. I mean, remember we saw, I forget his name right now, carrying his child, his baby. People were waiting to see it. And then, of course, there was Katie Porter, who was reading the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And I just
thought that was a meme when I first saw it. I thought, did someone write that on the book? That's really her doing that.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a pretty good book. I've been listening to it on and off as an audiobook. Many people have read that book. It's good. But I just love Katie Porter. I mean, she says so much without saying a single word, right? And I wish we didn't have to give an F, but we do.
Yeah.
This is our government. And when our government is gridlocked and not getting things done, that hurts us. That
Yeah.
hurts us every single time. Did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, taking a victory lap? Now, I would play you this video, except it has music. And it's a Dr. Dre, Snoop song. I'm not even going to try and rap it, right? But she tried to use Forgot About Dre, just the beat, over this video that makes her look like a badass, walking out of her office. Let's see what we can get done. Well, Dr. Dre's not having any of it. Any of it. She had this highly produced clip strutting herself through the office. Still DRE, I'm sorry, is the name of the song. Now some people are like, she even knows this song, but apparently Dr. Dre was like, no, stop using it. He's like, I don't let politicians use any of my songs, let alone someone as hateful as her. We'll see. He's like, yeah, I don't license my music to politicians, especially someone as divisive and hateful as this one. So yeah, he's not really happy about it, but it's nothing new. Politicians on both sides try to use popular music to promote themselves. Bit rich for you to use a Dr. Dre song. You're not that cool, MTG. Please. Yeah, I was wrong. It is. It's still DRE. But yeah, it's just another example of how they're all for this brand, right? They're all for this everything but what you've been sent to Washington to do. You've been sent there to legislate, to compromise, to work across the aisle, to get things done for the American people. They seem to be more interested in doing stuff for themselves. Finally, Ben Sass, the Republican senator from Nebraska, he has officially resigned on Sunday. He's going to actually become president of the University of Florida. He actually led Midland University, which is, I guess, a small private college in his home state, before he ran for Senate. And then in his farewell remarks, Senator Sass criticized the body that he had been a member of since 2015. He says this institution does not work very well right now. Each of us knows we should be taking a look in the mirror and acknowledging that lives lived in a politicized echo chamber are unworthy of a place that calls itself a deliberative body, let alone the world's greatest deliberative body. When we are being honest with each other, which usually means when on one of the very rare occasions where cameras aren't present, we all know that a big chunk of the performative yelling that happens here and in every hearing room is just about being booked for even more performative yelling at night on television. And that's true. That's what, MTG is doing with that stupid video. That's what, Matt Gaetz is doing. I will say that there are Democrats that have fallen into this as well, albeit not as hateful and annoying as, in my opinion, some Republicans are. But get the cameras out of it and do your freaking job. Legislate, work together. Stop, working for the next soundbite and get stuff done. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're just going to be completely gridlocked, and it sucks. Okay. We're going to do some Kim's news. And then Kim, I know that on Friday, I purchased us some Mega Millions tickets.
And did we win?
We didn't get one freaking number.
Oh
I mean, I don't know if we didn't get
God.
we didn't get any. We didn't get $1. We didn't get anything, but I did win money. The most money I have ever won in the lottery. I want you guys to tell me in the live chat, how much money do you think I won? And I'll tell you after Kim's news. So take some guesses. Now, there's another one. Is it tomorrow the next Mega Millions is? Or is it tonight?
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Okay. So there's another one tomorrow.
$1.1 billion.
I don't know if that's enough for me. I just don't. I mean, it's fine. I'll figure out how to spend it all. So we'll talk about that. Of course, we got to touch a bit on my Niners. I absolutely love them. Of course, did you guys like the way they were honoring Damar Hamlin with the number 3? Although former running back Adrian Foster was not happy with a decision that was made to pay Hamlin in full. And I'll explain why he wasn't happy about that. Michael Strahan has been talking again about Skip Bayless's tweet that he says was misconstrued and not understood. In the next hour, I want to talk about cancel culture because Lizzo is calling cancel culture appropriation. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and some canceled people. Don't really seem to be canceled all that much. And so that is all coming up. Again, click that thumbs up button. It helps us out. It's really easy to do. And we'll talk about all that coming up.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Let's start it off with flooding. Russian River in the Guerneville area expected to crest late tonight, early tomorrow morning, but the warnings for streams and rivers around the Bay Area are in place from the South Bay all the way to Solano County and Sacramento area and the Sacramento area as well. You'll find warnings. So if you live near one of these tributaries, be prepared and pay attention to the National Weather Service and warnings for evacuation. Oop, it's a little fuzzy, but you can see this is in Daly City. There's where a tree came down. So we're still seeing damage around the Bay Area. Of course, the ground is wet. Some trees become unstable, power poles as well, with the high winds expected. So we're still seeing some storm damage around the Bay Area. Some good news, though. Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin is out of the hospital. Doctors caring for Hamlin at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center said Hamlin is back in Buffalo and starting the next phase of his recovery. Hamlin, of course, collapsed on the field during the Bills game against the Cincinnati Bengals last week after suffering cardiac arrest, had to have CPR on the field. There is a school in Virginia. It is closed this week because of the teacher who was allegedly shot by a 6-year-old boy in the first grade class. This incident happened Friday at Rich Neck Elementary in Newport News, where police say there was an altercation between the teacher and a student, a 6-year-old boy who had a gun. The teacher, most recently listed in stable condition, and her injuries were initially considered to be life-threatening, but latest reports are that she's awake and talking with family and that she's now in stable condition. So what a situation there.
Yeah, I mean,
in Virginia.
I was with my in-laws when they told me about that story, and I was like, I couldn't wrap my head around 6 years old. And we were going to talk about it later in the show, but it's just, what does this tell us about the influence of, I don't know, people, news, gun advertising, whatever, that a 6-year-old not only could get their hand on a gun, but use it in this way? It's just, and there's no recoil, I mean, obviously you're not going to throw a 6-year-old. You can't throw him in juvenile hall. You can't do any of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's really, really sad. And this has been called like a red flag for the country. And it's tragic what's going on.
Oh, now they're saying the parents could be facing charges.
Good. What the hell? The 6-year-old have a gun for? Jeez.
What is a 6-year-old doing with a gun? I have to ask that.
Exactly.
COVID, of course, winter break, right? And so a lot of kids going back to school. And now some districts, like the district my children attend, they gave out COVID tests so that you're supposed to test the kids before they go back to school after winter break. But in the Los Angeles Unified School District, students and teachers are being encouraged to both test and mask up again. Officials recommending tests as schools reopen following winter break this week. They also say students and teachers should test again next week. This recommendation coming as there's growing concern about a new Omicron variant called XBB.1.5. It's getting more space agey sounding by the minute. XBB.1.5. LA County health officials recommend those returning to the classroom this week wear masks for at least 10 days.
Well, I was listening to one news report from a health official who was saying, it doesn't matter, not that it doesn't matter, but these variants, as long as they're an offshoot of Omicron, it's okay. And they don't think that it's just going to be a whole nother not Omicron type of variant. So the protections, the therapeutics, and of course the boosters can always help. So that's always good.
Lastly, Broadway is losing shows despite big crowds over the holiday season. It was curtains Sunday for Into the Woods, Almost Famous, 1776, and Beetlejuice. 6 other shows will close this week, including Death of a Salesman, The Old Man in the Pool, Strange Loop, and The Music Man. So what's going on Broadway? This
Yeah.
report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve is a must call. He is at 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Well, let's bring Steve on right now. And
Let's
Steve,
do
I
it.
hope in your neck of the woods, you're staying nice and safe and dry and your phones are working, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are desperate for your help.
Fortunately, dry and the phones are working.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about what you can do for people, Steve, because, we're getting new listeners and viewers to the Nikki Medoro Show every day. And I do often get questions about what can Steve do for me? And I tell them pretty much everything, but, come clean your house or something. But if you have a financial or a tax problem, if you have an accounting issue, you have an HR issue, there is someone within your company that can help.
That's right. And we have different departments and different people that are working on different areas like the HR and accounting and tax planning and preparing your taxes, and ERC, which still going strong, where people can get up to $26,000 for every employee that they have that qualifies, all kinds of things. And a lot of times, people don't realize that there's so much help available for them and at an affordable fee.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because some people think I don't make enough money to hire Steve, but that's not the case.
You can certainly call us. It doesn't cost you a penny to call us. We say, look, here's what we can do for you. And it's not what you're paying us, it's what we're doing for you, what you're saving us. So the bottom line is we're looking to save you all kinds of taxes like the big companies do.
And when you save people taxes, that's putting money in their pocket. And so you can be just like those big Fortune 500 companies that are able to pay little to no taxes on certain things, but you want to do it the right way. And that's what you do for them. You make sure that they're not going to run into any legal problems down the road, and they could sleep well at night.
Sleep the sleep of the innocent.
That's what I was looking for you to say. Thank you, Steve. Give Steve a call. 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com. That's 888-TAX-DEAL or MoskowitzLLP.com. Thanks, Steve. Thanks so much. So yeah, give Steve a call. I mean, I know people have emailed me. They're like, do I need to be, high six figures, multimillionaire to give Steve a call? Because I understand that. You hear tax attorney, you're like, my people call your people. Steve is your person. It's just give him a call. He'll tell you what he can do for you, and you'll sleep, like he likes to say. Sleep the sleep of the innocent. So 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com.
That's, when you talk about sleep the sleep of the innocent, and it sounds funny, but the thing that keeps my husband up at night sometimes is thinking about money.
Oh, I think he's in good company.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
company.
he'll lay awake and he'll just think about, like, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make this work? Whatever. And so, I mean, I think a lot of times people do lay awake, and the thing that rolls around on their mind when your mind won't turn off, it's finance.
Always. I mean, my mind never turns off anyway, as someone who overthinks everything in the whole entire world. But yeah, this is one thing that, Steve can take off your plate.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to think about it anymore. There's somebody else that can lie awake thinking about your finances and your taxes. And how nice would that be? Okay. Well, speaking of money, speaking of finances, what is the big, let's look at some of these guesses. So I won the most money I have ever won in the lottery. On Friday. So
not on our code ticket.
No, on Saturday. Yes. So I went to go get our tickets on Friday. No, so this was Friday that I won it. So I went to go get our tickets on Friday. And so I go in and I got our tickets. And then there's scratchers, and I had my son there with me. And I'm like, pick out a scratcher, and I'll pick out a scratcher, and we'll scratch them. And so he picked out one and I picked out one.
Okay.
He didn't get anything. He didn't get a ticket. He didn't get a dollar.
Teaching him to gamble early, I see.
Oh, yeah. I just let him scratch it. It's fine. But I got the Happy New Year's lotto ticket. Okay. And so I go home and I'm scratching the top. And so it has like these top hats at the top. And
Okay.
when you scratch one of those, it's like an instant win, right? Not even counting all the
Sure.
numbers, winning numbers. I scratched the first one, $100, baby. I got so
Hey!
if you unscratched 2023, you got $100. I was like, sweet. So then I keep scratching. Then
Okay.
I get the 10 times. You get 10 times whatever the dollar amount is, $10. So that was another $100. And then I keep scratching and I won another $50. So $250. I don't know if that seems like a lot to you. That's a lot to me. I've never won that much money on a
That is a
scratcher or anything
that
else.
is a great way to start 2023.
Right? I was so happy. I was like, okay, happy new year to me. So of course I give it to my husband, right? I was like, oh, the next day we're driving around. He's going into the gas station. I was like, oh, go cash in my ticket for me because it was raining. It was gross. And he comes back and I'm counting the money. I was like, what the hell? This is $250. He's like, you bought another 10 Mega Millions tickets too. And I was like, I was like, I would have bought another scratcher. I was doing much better with the scratchers than the Mega Millions. But yeah, so
That's awesome.
$250. That's pretty good. So
That's great.
it was a very
But that's
nice,
the most you've ever won
that's the most I've
gambling?
ever won. Well, I mean, I've been in Vegas and I probably won more than that, but on
Mhm.
a lotto, like lotto ticket scratcher, hell yeah. I mean, I've won $50 here, $25 there, $250. And those scratchers, they get you. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I'll just buy the $1 scratcher. But then I was like, oh, it's the New Year one. And you start mentally telling yourself they have the winners because it's good
Yeah.
advertising for people to buy them. I mean, how long can you sell the Happy New Year lotto ticket? I mean, only for so long. It's not Happy New Year anymore. We're in March. So yeah, I was very, very stoked to start that. But I bought some more Mega Millions. I keep my fingers crossed that I'll be a billionaire. But did you guys hit any on the Mark Thompson show? Not one
Nothing.
number? Not one
Nothing.
number? Yeah,
No.
see? It's always so disappointing because I have the app. If you download the California Lottery app, you can just scan it and
Yeah.
they'll tell you. So you don't even have to go through every single number. Not one. Anybody in the live chat win any money out of the tickets, or are we stuck with a bunch of people that don't play the lotto? Because you have to play if you want to win. $1.1 billion. That is just insane. Anything's possible. There you go. I know lucky number 13 is the mega.
Yeah, that was the mega.
That
13
was
and
the
3.
mega.
Yeah, I think somebody would have won it, but no.
No, I mean, I'm happy because it keeps it going. But yeah, it was definitely a nice way to start the weekend, I should say. I love Anonymous. I won -$4. Yeah, I get that feeling. I made money by not playing. There you go. So
Some big jackpots up there, though. Look at that. 340 million.
in the Powerball, I know.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like you still have to hit the numbers, but sometimes you're playing against fewer people because everyone's going for the billion and not as many people are going for the million, which is stupid. And so even if you hit the numbers and somebody else hits the numbers, if fewer people, there's less of a chance that you have to share it. So you can maybe do that.
There's your scratchers.
Yeah, but the one that I was playing isn't on there. It was like a Happy New Year 2023. It's like silver and black, which are Raider colors, but I still won. So it's
You
fine.
still did it?
I still did it. I didn't fully notice it because there it is right there. See, 2023. That's the one.
With the top
I guess
hats?
gold. Yeah, gold. That's the one.
That's a $20 ticket. Wow.
I won $250 right then
Look
and
at
there.
you. Okay.
Yeah, see, so you scratch those ones at the top, and that's the one that gave me my first 100. And then you have a lot of chances to win. I mean, there's a lot of numbers and everything. So
The
now that
odds that you'll
not
win
like
cash are 1 in 4.29. So
that's not bad. I mean, some cash, but I went 250. And then, yeah, it was really fun. So it's gold and black and silver, I think. But it was all about red and gold yesterday as my San Francisco 49ers won. So it was a long shot that we were going to get the number 1 seed. But not only did the Niners win, but the Packers lost. And if there's anything else that I love is to see Aaron Rodgers lose. So it was just a really great day yesterday for football, at least in my household. Now the big question mark, of course, was that Aaron Rodgers' last game? Aaron Rodgers ended the season with a losing record. So did Tom Brady, but the Bucks, because of how things worked out, are still in the playoffs. So, but yeah, Aaron Rodgers didn't seem to be too happy, of course, to end the season in that way. But whatever. And of course, I'm sure many of you guys noticed all of the threes that were on the field, on players' uniforms. Coaches were wearing shirts with Damar Hamlin's number 3 across their chest. Where's the picture? I had this picture. Okay, so Arian Foster, he is calling out what many, I think, would say was a very nice move by the NFL. Now, the NFL has decided to pay Damar Hamlin's at least this year's contract. So Damar Hamlin has a 4-year, $3.6 million contract with the Buffalo Bills. He was placed on injury reserve, but they worked out an agreement with the NFL to pay him in full. Now, despite a clause in Hamlin's contract, which would have split his pay to a lower rate after being placed on injured reserve, the Bills worked things out. And so let's see, Hamlin's 2022 salary of $825,000 would have been decreased to $825,000. I would love to be paid $825,000, but in the grand scheme of football players, you understand that that's not that much. 3.6 over 4 years, that's a nice amount. But Arian Foster wasn't having it. This is what he said. He tweeted out the Bleacher Report regarding the fact that the NFL and the Bills worked it out. And he wrote, "Gotta almost die for them to do the right thing." And it's true, though. I mean, and it does beg the question, how bad of an injury does it have to be for the NFL to give 2 licks that you still need your money, right? That the game is very violent. Because what happens the next time? Is somebody gets seriously injured? Are they going to pay out every single contract like that? I don't see them doing it. The NFL cares about the NFL, right? They care about their bottom line. And so I don't want this to happen to anybody else. Obviously, you don't want anybody losing their life, but it is quite interesting that this sets some sort of precedent with the NFL and players that are so severely injured. Well, one, that they almost lose their life, but that they're put on IR.
Well, especially since you have a guy who almost lost his life. He may want to come back, but doctors may say, you shouldn't. And so this is the rest of his life. He was probably banking on, having at least another, you would say, 5 years in the NFL or more. He's only 24.
I know.
So like this could set you up for your life. And now you have to kind of readjust your whole financial picture. Speaking of finances.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. Vilma, I'm sorry if I was saying Velma before. Vilma says it's all good PR. Yeah. The NFL needs some good PR. They really do. Between CTE, obviously the image of the team, racist teams like the Commanders and coaches and all sorts of problems with the NFL and its organization. Not to mention somebody almost dies on the field, which isn't their fault. It's a violent game. But yeah, it's good PR. But what is going to happen the next time someone is seriously injured?
It's shocking to me that he's out of the hospital already.
I know, but it's so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see it. Yeah. Now, we talked last week about Skip Bayless. Now, he had tweeted out on Fox Sports. He had tweeted out that they didn't know how they're going to continue the games, that it seems irrelevant. And he hasn't really apologized. What he's basically said is, I stand by my tweet because I was saying it seems irrelevant now, even though that was the last sentence on there. Michael Strahan, of course, a former football player. He's on, Good Morning America. He does commentary for the NFL. He wasn't buying Skip Bayless's apology, in quotes. Here's Michael Strahan.
I've struggled with this in a lot of ways because it's not so much just about being an athlete and experiencing being on the field and being that close to guys, and then you see something happen to a young man like that. It's just, you don't have to be a football player to understand how big this was. And you spoke about humanity. And I think, but there were things done here by someone here at this network that were inhumane. And we sit here and we talk about how good, and I'm sorry to take it this way, but this route, but I just felt like sensible people and sensible human beings have a heart. And they understand that your words and what you say really have an impact, not only on that young man's family. And so all the attention should be on this young man, his recovery, for sensible people like us here To say that it didn't affect anybody at this network, nobody at this network minded, that's a lie. Obviously didn't talk to us because it matters to us and it matters to any sensible human being that this young man's life was bigger than any football game. This young man will hopefully be back and forget about football, but just have a life.
Yeah.
And his family has him. That's the most important thing. And I think that was kind of lost a little bit in all of this.
You're muted.
Guys, I was sniffling. I understand that Skip Bayless is trying to make the point of, I did say that everything seems irrelevant, but it is also true that the NFL has to figure it out. And in all honesty, yeah, I think it's the timing. It was the way it was phrased. I think that he could have led with the fact that all of this game is irrelevant because somebody's life is on the line. Someone could be literally dying right now because of this game. And so it's just read the room, understand timing, and he should know better than that. I mean, Skip Bayless isn't new to this, but it does bring attention to him. Obviously, brings attention to his show with Shannon Sharp. And so, I don't think he's going to do another apology tour, but he just maintains that my tweet was widely misconstrued. And that happens, especially when you're in the public eye and everybody has an opinion about all of that. But I love Harry's comment. Bayless is the end culture of the sports world. His job is to trigger as many as possible. Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't know too much about him until then. I mean, I knew of him. I don't really watch that show too much, but yeah, I think that saying crazy things that gets tweeted and retweeted is part of the job. Did you see what the Steelers did though? That has been called out. I want to show you a picture. And then I'll show you the video. So there's a Steelers player. Other players are imitating, getting CPR. Now, apparently, this is a type of celebration they had done before the Hamlin injury and obviously CPR on the field. So I'm going to show you the video.
Did they not think it was not in poor taste following what happened?
You'd think so. Here we go. So look. So apparently they've done this before where it's like, I got to resuscitate him because of the celebration. I don't know the thinking.
What a bunch of dummies.
You would think that we're like, hey, let's make sure we don't do the CPR one again. Yeah. Oh, Amy is a Steelers fan. So is my brother-in-law. He's a Steelers fan. Poor choice. It is. Now, I hate defending people because I don't know if they necessarily deserve it or need it. But I will say this. If this is a normal type of celebration that you do consistently, there could be some muscle memory with it. I would just think for them personally, they would have seen what happened to Hamlin and been, it would have been an immediate flash of recognition of let's not do that. So, maybe a little bit of forethought, hindsight is 2020, of course. So they're probably looking back over it and being like, yeah, probably not the best. I love Amy. My Steelers tend to be knuckleheads, don't they all? Did you see who was it? Gronk and his donation of like, what was it? $69,000. I think that's what I think I'm correct. It had to be 69. I guess it's on brand for him to do the whole 69 because he's a high school boy. And so he's constantly acting that way, I guess, but whatever. He donated. Damar Hamlin's toy drive GoFundMe is just
taken off.
I mean, it is, speaking of money, I mean, I think in those situations, people want to do something, right? They feel helpless. They want to do something. They want to help somebody. And it's a way for the whole country to kind of come together. So again, I'm so glad to see the success and the improvement with Damar Hamlin. Now the question is going to be how quickly can he just get back to his normal, healthy self, let alone whether or not he's going to get back on the field and play again. Like you mentioned, Gronk will never grow old. Like you mentioned, Kim, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be able to go back on the field. He's young though, and he does have a long career if he wanted to. It just doesn't seem like the smart thing to do. You don't dance with the death twice, right? You don't push your luck there. And I think that would be smarter for him just to kind of turn his attention to something else. Okay, so we're gonna do Kim's news in just a moment. Can you guys please click that thumbs up button before we go to the top and get Kim's update on the news? We will of course be monitoring all of the flooding and the rain and everything that's happening in Northern California with these atmospheric rivers that just seem to love our area lately. It's crazy out there, and Kim's going to be following that. Click a thumbs up, help support the show by becoming a Patreon subscriber. TheNikkiMedoroShow.com, of course, is the website to go to become a Patreon subscriber. I've been getting some notifications that you guys have been bumping up your monthly donations. I love that. That is sending me a message that you want us to continue doing
That's
this.
nice. Yeah.
So thank you to everybody that does that. And it just really, it helps us out. It really does. So does the super chat. So there's going to be, YouTube was letting us know that there's supposed to be all these other ways where they're going to be spreading the show, which again, the thumbs up helps, but to help us monetize the show. And one of the ways is in the super chat, super stickers, super thanks, all of those sorts of ways. Look for the dollar symbol. Throw us whatever money you can because it helps us out. Andreas always supports us so much during the show. $20 from him,
Nice.
$5 from James. You guys don't think that it might seem like a lot. And I know I see you guys in the chat thanking other people for donating because you can't. And I get it. I get it. I completely get it. Whatever amount you can give, both on the super chat, in the Patreon, if it's PayPal, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com, of course, is the email address for the show. And you can donate there. Any little bit that you can give, it adds up for us. And it means the absolute world that you guys would support us each and every day or each and every month. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Okay, so when we come back, I do want to get into what Lizzo was saying about cancel culture. And she says that it's been appropriated. And I'm going to read you her tweet about it. And then I want you guys to tell me what you really think about cancel culture. Is this something that I'll just tease it like this. I don't really actually believe cancel culture exists. I don't. I think it exists for some people and not others. And I don't think that it's permanent. So we'll get into that. Of course, one person who probably would claim that he's trying to be canceled is Elon Musk. He wants his trial moved to Texas because he's a child. So there you go. Another person who was supposedly canceled, Louis C.K. He did a show in the Bay Area. I'll let you guess whether or not it was sold out or not. So does cancel culture exist? Is it being appropriated? And what can we do about that?
Did you hear, by the way, did you hear that Lizzo is going to be one of the headliners at Bottle Rock in Napa?
Yes, I wanted to get into that. Also in the next hour, the lineup, you know who else is going to be there? The Stone Foxes are going to be there. Which Shannon, who used to work at, well, not at Station X, but in our cluster, is one of the lead singers of the Stone Foxes. Amazing band. And he is, for the very first time, going to be at Bottle Rock. So we'll go over the lineup because the lineup looks awesome. Yeah. My brother's going. He already has tickets. I'm not going. I've never been, but it looks like a damn good time. So we'll talk about that. Who would you love to see? Are you going to Bottle Rock? Some tips and tricks you can let us know in the chat. But first, let's take a look at some news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Trying to put one last picture into the mix. All right, let's talk about this flooding and damage and storm damage. Highway 17 this morning partially closed down because of a big old mudslide. So it looks like damage. We're not done with this damage, and the more storms are lining up around the state to pummel California. We have seen also some flooding today. This is the San Lorenzo River right at the Highway 1 overpass. They had to close down a lane because of the log jam, the literal log jam you can see as things back up here at the San Lorenzo River. So a lot of flooding around the state, and we are not done yet at the Russian River in Guerneville. Crest for the river is expected to happen late tonight, early tomorrow morning. California's Office of Emergency Services taking to Twitter to advise all Californians to prepare for the storm coming in overnight into Tuesday. They expect widespread flooding, mudslides, and power outages in many communities. They're saying now is the time to prepare. OES also urging residents pay attention to weather and flood warnings and directives and move on evacuation notifications right away. If you you haven't done so already, they say you can sign up for local wireless emergency alerts as well as monitor incoming storms. Again, that's at Cal OES. Check out the website there. It's always good to see if there's anything you can sign up for that will help. Nixle alerts in your area, whatever your local sheriff's department uses as far as a platform to help get the information out, is helpful. California is expected to get federal help as it deals with the impacts of the deadly storms as well. President Biden approving the state's emergency declaration. Again, last week, Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency because of all the storm damage. The forecasters say this system is expected to bring strong winds and heavy rain until Tuesday. Speaking of President Biden, he is visiting Mexico for the first time since taking office. He's in Mexico City today to discuss migration issues with that country's president and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the North American Leaders Summit. And that was President Biden. Sorry, skipped right over his picture. But let's talk about the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, agreeing to stop sending migrants to New York City and to Chicago as well. He made the announcement yesterday after talking with mayors Eric Adams and Lori Lightfoot. Polis's office described those conversations as very productive. There's a new poll that finds most social media users just kind of scroll through platforms as opposed to actually posting any content. I call that lurking, but according to new data from a Gallup poll, less than half of U.S. adults who commonly spend time on social media create their own content. The survey found the 3 most commonly used platforms are Facebook, YouTube, right here,
Right.
and Instagram.
Okay. But does it say what so they're just scrolling? They're not actually putting anything up there? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. They don't comment, or they don't post their own posts or make comments. Most people apparently just kind of silently observe.
It's funny because since we've been doing the show, I've been trying to obviously create shorts and create different types of things. I have a cute picture of my canine co-anchor Nugget. I don't know where he is. But yeah, it's hard. I'll see things and I'll either want to do a duet with it, which if you don't know what a duet is, it's like you take somebody's video and you kind of react to it or add to it or something like that. And so I have like a whole folder of things like, oh, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And then life gets in the way. So I don't know if you could dedicate yourself to being one of these content creators. It is work. I know it looks like they just threw it together as someone, and I know I get better as I do it more often, but it takes time to get it right. Those videos where people are imitating the sound, the voice, that takes so long. You have to memorize, you got to get your lips, lined up. It's not easy, and it's all for entertainment for what? 30 seconds, maybe, if that. So, and it's the never ending beast. You got to keep feeding it. So it's hard work.
And there's not a lot of money in those 30 seconds unless you've made a million 30 seconds videos.
Exactly. So to keep doing it and doing it and doing it, it's tough. Yeah.
I don't know. Some people like the attention, I guess.
Exactly.
This is an old picture. They were at the White House, the Golden State Warriors, a long time ago. And guess what? They're going back. President Joe Biden this time welcoming the NBA champion Golden State Warriors to the White House, set for later this month. Officials say the Warriors will visit with the president in the East Room January 17th. Golden State will be in town to play the Wizards as part of a 5-game road trip with stops in San Antonio, Chicago, Boston, and Cleveland. So the first they met President Obama, I think they declined going when Trump was in office.
Yeah, I bet they. I mean, that's just awkward because, I mean, on one hand, it is the president of the United States. You're just being honored for your hard work and blah, 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 blah. But it's Trump. You're going to stand there and smile next to this asshat? I don't think so. No, thank you.
Thank you.
No,
but they were sure happy to meet President
Obama.
Hell
yeah, I would. I mean, come on.
There. He's like,
beaming. Yeah, that's funny.
And now they'll get to meet, they probably have already met him, but they'll get to hang out with President Biden as well. So that's kind of cool.
That's
This
awesome.
report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals, for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, here's who you call. It's 888 Tax Deal or MoskowitzLLP.com on the internet. It's got a great website with lots of information. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
thanks for joining us on the second hour of the Nikki Medoro Show. We will get to Lizzo calling out cancel culture as appropriation, which is honestly another word I feel is overused and annoying. And I'm also going to tell you a hilarious story, just talking about, the former President Trump and all that sort of nonsense in just a moment. But I do want to give some shout outs to people who have been supporting us. And again, I appreciate you guys so much, because when you financially support the show, that's just telling us that you want to do it. And we have some new donations into the super chat. Andreas again with $10.
Thank you.
And then Meredith, thank you so much for the $20
Hey, Meredith.
super sticker.
Thank
I feel
you.
like I'm saying that wrong. Calling us a breath of fresh air, which I love you. That is awesome. Another one, Andreas. We adore you. Thank you. $10 from Andreas. I like Harry's. Here's for a Nikki Teeny. My mouth is like betraying me today. A Nikki Teeny. Now I want a cocktail, Harry. Thanks for that. Another $5 from James. And of course, Andreas started us off with that $20. Thank you. We love you guys so much. And again, click that thumbs up, because YouTube loves it and it's free. So it doesn't cost you guys any money. Just a little click, a little rub, a little massage of the little mouse right there.
Oh,
and we're good to go. Oh my. Okay. So, you want to hear the funniest story? So this weekend I had to go to the pharmacy to pick up my daughter's medication, and I'm standing in line. And I've told you guys this before. When I go to the hospital pharmacy, it does blow me away that when you look at the medication, shelves, they're empty with children's cold medication. We've been reporting on this. It's been going on for at least a month, right, Kim? I mean, it's been going on for a while. There's just a shortage because of RSV, the flu, COVID, things like that. And of course, the news. When you tell people that something is in short supply, what do? Greedy little buggers. They start hoarding it, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'm standing in line, and I really thought that we were over this. And so I'm standing there, and I have my mask on, obviously, and I'm two behind this older white guy. It still cracks me up. So I'm standing there, and these guys weren't together. So there was one guy. If anyone has ever been to a pharmacy and you're waiting for your name to pop up, and there's a long line, you'll just get back in the line, even if your name's not up there, in hopes that by the time you get to the front, your name comes up. So there's one white dude and another white dude. They look about the same age, probably in their 60s, late 60s, maybe early 70s. And so the one guy is just waiting for his name. He's just standing at the front of the line, like, go ahead, my name's still not up there. And he's waiting. Well, this other guy finally gets up to him, and he looks at the guy, and he looks at the shelves, and he goes, these shelves were full when Trump was president.
Oh,
and
God.
I was like, so shocked.
Are you kidding me?
That I literally went, and I couldn't help myself. And then I put my head down, because I am in no mood to get into an altercation with some crazy Trumper about the whole damn thing, especially over something as asinine as the fact that. But he was so adamant. It was like, these were all full when Trump was president. I was just like, so was your head with brains, but that's what happened during a Trump presidency. There were so many comebacks that I was like itching to say.
Did anybody else pick up the mantle and take it from you?
No, but they all looked at me. So it was only like 3 people in line besides the people at the actual pharmacist checkout place. And I just went, and I just kind of put my head down and because I had a mask on. I mean, I'm sure you could tell that I had this eating grin on my face, because I just I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that we were still hearing people say stuff like this.
Yeah.
Seriously? This, again, it is so exhausting. Yes, Karen, I agree. And Nick, you're absolutely right. Bad idea to argue with stupid. They drag you down and then beat you with superior experience. Yeah, I feel like, and again, I'm standing in line. It's not like he left, and I giggled. And they knew that I was giggling, but I just kept my head down, because I knew, what was I going to say? Nothing. There is nothing. Anybody that will tell absolute strangers that idiotic statement, they're beyond reaching, right? They're just beyond anything. A conversation, understanding, supply chain, illnesses, the fact that we went through a pandemic, all of these things straight over their head. So I decided not to. even though I wanted to. And I still dream of all of the things that I wanted to say and I said, but it was just going to get me into trouble. And I needed the medication and I wanted to get the hell out of there. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to spend my time speaking to an idiot. There's plenty of them out there. I don't need to do this. I like this. Arguing with the Trumper is like playing chess with a pigeon. No matter what you do, it just knocks the pieces over, craps on the board, and struts around like it won. Exactly. I'm stealing that, Eric. I'm totally stealing that. Chess with a pigeon. I'm going to tell my son that because he loves playing chess. I'm surprised he didn't laugh longer. I think I would have fell out. It was like I went, and then like kind of giggled, and then I just kept shaking my head. I'm just like, just don't do it. It's not going to end well for either party. Like, cause I could rip anybody a new a-hole. It's like a personal pastime of mine.
I agree. I think I would have had a hard time like not containing my laughter.
Once I started though, if I really did say something, it would have been, I know my blood would have started boiling. I would have been as red as this shirt that I'm wearing. And I would have just laid expletives all over this moron who was trying to equate these two things. And it was so funny though. I still get a giggle out of it because he was so adamant about it. And sometimes I wonder the internal dialogue that's in some of these people's heads to not only think that, but then to tell absolute strangers that. Like, you could think it, right? He could look at those empty shelves and be like, when Trump was president, those were full. But to look at an absolute stranger and say that to them, it blows
ridiculous.
My mind.
It's the old saying, I refuse to have a battle of wits with an unarmed person.
Oh, that one too. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good one. I should have said something like that if I was going to, which I can't because this mouth will get me in trouble. You guys all know.
Gotta watch it.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. And then then somebody will take my picture.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like Nikki Medoro from YouTube gets into a fight with a 6-year-old guy.
YouTube, Nikki Medoro from YouTube.
Well, I could say Station X, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen. No. All right, let's talk about Lizzo. So Lizzo is blasting cancel culture. All right. Now, usually, right, you hear about conservatives saying this. Oh, cancel culture, the woke mob's trying to cancel everything, blah, 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 blah. So to hear Lizzo calling out cancel culture, that's made me do a double take. So she took to Twitter on Sunday to call out cancel culture. And this is what she wrote. She said, this may be a random time to say this, but it's on my heart. Cancel culture is appropriation. There was real outrage from truly marginalized people, and now it's become trendy, misused, and misdirected. Mm-hmm. I hope we can phase out of this and focus our outrage on real problems. What do you think about what she said right there? I mean, do you think that she has a point? Do you agree with what she said? And do you believe that there actually is cancel culture? Because that's where I'm standing. I don't believe that cancel culture is truly a thing. And I'll add this caveat: as long as the person who's canceled is a free person. Now, if you go to prison for something, that's the ultimate canceling, right? Like, you're gone. If you're Harvey Weinstein, right? Now, he's been canceled. He's not only been canceled, he's been humiliated and he's in prison. Okay. So that I'll put there. I saw She Said over the weekend, which was about the Harvey Weinstein and the New York Times reporters that helped break the story of him assaulting and raping and intimidating all sorts of people, right? And so I liked it. It was very, very well done. But cancel culture for people like, I don't know, Donald Trump, Louis C.K., all those sorts of people, I don't believe it actually exists. I just believe that cancel culture for them is another way of saying bad headlines, right? Bad headlines, trolling people, all those sorts of things. And I love that Eric wrote this, appropriating cancel culture, like how woke was appropriated. That was literally one of the comments to Lizzo was that, they also appropriated woke. What does woke mean? Right? It's being aware of the system around you that holds certain people down, and lifts other people up. You're awake to it. You're woke to it, right? You're understanding it. That term has been around for so long, and just in recent years has been appropriated by those largely in the conservative community. And it reminds me of the whole PC thing, right? Oh, everything's PC. There seems to be this commonality among the conservative party where if they're called out for their BS, for their rhetoric, for fill in the blank, all of a sudden, oh, that's PC culture. That's that woke culture. Or you're an a-hole. How about that? How about you're being called out for being an a-hole or for saying something that's flat out racist, misogynistic, hateful, right? I mean, calling you out for that sort of thing isn't being woke or PC. It's calling it how you see it. And you may not see it that way, but it's not true.
Don't you think, though, that cancel culture is really just another word for consequences? Like,
it can be.
You know, they say freedom of speech does not mean freedom from
the consequences of what you say.
Right. And so, I mean, if take Louis C.K., if you're going to act like an ass, then nobody's going to want to come see your show, or no network's going to want to publish it, or whatever have you, whatever. So, I mean, I look at it as a consequence. That's a consequence of your action. Did you have, were you a founding father that had slaves? Well, the consequence is that we no longer want to see your ugly mug. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, while I don't agree with many of the things that maybe, taking down statues of founding fathers and what have you, I can see that there's a consequence of your actions, that there's a consequence of in some way not being a good person, whether it's you said something, you're anti-Semitic, like Ye or Kanye or whatever,
right?
Or you've done something to harm people, Weinstein, whomever. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with. Is Lizzo right? Is cancel culture getting away from us? Are we going overboard? Probably. San Francisco City School District or Unified School District showed us that when they, put out a list of 150 names, Dianne Feinstein's name on there. I mean, you could make a case against anyone for anything.
Yeah.
But there are some people, maybe as a society, where they've done something so offensive that you don't want to see them anymore. And that's just a consequence.
The truth is, though, let's just take someone like Louis C.K. They're not canceled. They scream and cry that they've been canceled, but they're not. He sold a sold-out show in the Bay Area. I love this. This was an article from KQED. First line in the article: Louis C.K. is performing in the Bay Area this week because nobody cares about women. Now that is an opening statement.
Yep.
He played at venues in San Francisco and Oakland. They were sold out. And I love this reporter, Ray Alexandra. She laundry listed all of the things that Louis C.K. has done that were gross. 1, audibly masturbating in 2003 during a professional phone conversation with a comic who cited it as one of the reasons she quit comedy. Number 2, inviting comedy duo Dana Min Goodman and Julia Wolof to his hotel for a drink in 2002, and then promptly taking off all of his clothes and masturbating in front of them. Neither woman consented to bear witness to such a thing, and when they told other comedians, the backlash in the comedy community was against them, not Louis C.K. Number 3, asking actress and producer Rebecca Corey in 2005 if he could masturbate in front of her. CK was making a guest appearance on Corey's TV show at the time. He was also married and awaiting the birth of his second child, because that's a keeper.
Ew.
Number 4 of the things that Louis C.K. has done and yet still goes to sell out shows: repeatedly describes sexual fantasies and touching himself in front of a younger female colleague on the Chris Rock show in the 90s. Making light of the emotional and professional toll his indecent behavior had on all the women he exposed himself to. Now, this was his reasoning, by the way, of why he did this. This was his MO. He would just whip it out and start pleasuring himself in front of women. He said, I don't like being alone. That's all I can tell you. I get lonely. It's sad. I like company. I like to share. I'm good at it too. If you're good at juggling, you wouldn't do it alone in the dark. There is a huge difference between juggling in front of
Really?
people, surprise. So, surprise, I'm juggling versus, juggling. No, there is a huge, and I never found him that funny either, John, but I know a lot of people did. Let's see. There's a couple more of these. I mean, again, making Tig Notaro feel complicit in his abusive behavior. He released my album in 2012 to cover his tracks, Notaro told the New York Times. He knew it was going to make him look like a good guy supporting a woman. Returning to the stage in 2018, just 1 year after saying he would step back and take a long time to listen. He also, and I forgot about this, he belittled Parkland shooting survivors. He said, "You're not interesting because you went to a high school where kids got shot. Why does that mean I have to listen to you? Why does that make you interesting? You didn't get shot. You pushed some fat kid in the way, and now I got to listen to you talking." He did racist bits about his penis size and how it correlates to his ethnicity, trying to make child molestation funny
No.
and continuing to use the homophobic F word in 2021. And finally, in this list, mocking non-binary and trans people's pronoun requests. He says, "They're like royalty. They tell you what to call them. You should address me as they, them because I identify as gender neutral. Oh, okay. You should address me as there because I identify as a location. And the location is your mother's C word."
Oh.
So that's Louis C.K. The same Louis C.K. that had sold out shows in San Francisco and Oakland. And so, yes, I think that this writer, Ray Alexander for KQED, is absolutely correct. Louis C.K. is performing in the Bay Area because nobody cares about women. I'm not saying nobody, but not those people, right? I mean, if you did, why are you watching an assaulter? I mean, honestly, you're masturbating in front of me without my consent. You're assaulting me. Why would you want to see somebody like that? I have no idea. And again, I don't think that he was that funny to begin with either at all. So that's Louis C.K. for you. And if we're going to talk about cancel culture, that is definitely someone who should be canceled. But he hasn't been. Would I say, and I'm not saying that it's in the same kind of egregious behavior, although it is assault. So I would say Will Smith. I mean, he's out with this new show. I think he's in Antarctica or something like that. Now, am I saying that Will Smith should never work again? Is Will Smith as bad as Louis C.K.? I think, I don't know. Do you think he's as bad as Louis C.K., Kim? Will Smith for smacking Chris Rock across the face on national, if not international television?
Well, that's physical assault.
That's physical assault. And yet, he has a new show. He has a new movie, Emancipation's out on Apple TV.
I guess the question is, how long do we make someone pay?
Right. And what is the right price?
And not everyone bands together in society and makes them pay, right? You're going to get some people who were never mad at him, who thought, oh, it's not a big deal, who will have no problem with Will Smith. And you'll have other people who never want to see Will Smith again. So I guess the question is really, do you like his work more than you care about what he's done?
Right.
And that's really that question that goes back to, is it the art or the artist?
I don't know. I another person that I think of is someone like Mel Gibson, right?
Yep.
Mel Gibson, I keep thinking he's canceled, and then he keeps making new movies.
He keeps coming back. I was talking about him with Mark earlier. Yeah, he just keeps on coming back.
I mean, and the thing is that I used to love Mel Gibson.
Me
right?
too.
I did too. Like I loved him in Lethal Weapon. I loved him in What Women Want, right? What Women Want was that movie. I loved him. Oh, what was that one movie where his kid was kidnapped? Ransom. Have you seen Ransom? It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Ugh. Now I can't look at his face without thinking he's psycho. Obviously, Braveheart. I mean, I used to love Mel Gibson movies.
Right.
If there was a Mel Gibson movie, I was watching it.
And now I hear his name and I'm like, not so much.
He
No,
doesn't need my
thanks.
money. Now, if he happens to be in something I want to see, I guess. But
I wouldn't not watch it because he's in it, but I don't seek it out like I used to.
yes, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not must-see movies. But then again, I don't think that he's getting the roles that kind of draw those crowds anymore. I mean, he was a blockbuster star. I'd start with shaving that stupid beard off for sure. It makes him look psycho. But he is. I think he's like totally off his rocker. And I don't have any desire to see him. Karen writes in, Bill Cosby is going on tour reportedly.
Do you think people are going to go see him? I mean,
Yes.
his crimes are egregious, right? So many people have come out and their stories are so similar. I don't know how you could not go, no.
He did it. He was on tape admitting it. I mean,
I just feel like he's a no for me. Again, I don't know how. I don't
I
care
would
how
never
many
pay money to
Jello
see him.
commercials you did and how much you got up and faked being a great dad to America. I'm sorry, no.
No, I would never see Bill Cosby. And I've seen Bill Cosby. I mean, before all of this, I saw him in Oakland years ago, and he was so funny. I remember he was like stomping my feet, can't catch my breath, funny. But he will never be funny to me again. He's a rapist. Bill Cosby is an admitted rapist. He is.
And when you buy a ticket to a show, you're giving that person your money, right?
No, of course, yeah.
We talk about before voting with your wallet.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're financially supporting that person. And I just don't, his crimes are so awful to me that I wouldn't want to give him my money. Why would you want him to have financial success?
Not with my money, right?
Nope.
And again, it's if it was, and we could bring Dave Chappelle into this too, right? Another controversial figure, but he's never been accused of assaulting women, raping women, slapping people across the face on national television. He's made jokes that really rub people the wrong way, and I think that's different. Yeah. I do personally than actually physically assaulting somebody, and so
I don't know. On the other hand, though, Will Smith got angry and made one mistake. Bill Cosby had years and years and years and years of physical assault, of trying to use control over women, of taking their consent away with drugs and other things. So I'll say allegedly, even though it's likely not. Right. But I feel like there's a big difference there in my mind. Will Smith made a mistake. It was a bad mistake. It was on national television, unfortunately. If you're going to F up, way to F up in front of the world.
Yeah.
But it was one mistake, and I think his crime to me does not rise to the level of Bill Cosby.
I don't know, man. I am not going to say Will Smith and rapist Bill Cosby are at the same level.
No.
But if Chris Rock was a woman, yes. Right.
Like I wouldn't mind my money going to Will Smith. I would go see a Will Smith movie because I know that I'm financially supporting him. I wouldn't be so upset.
Okay.
Whereas I would actively work to not have my money go towards Bill Cosby. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. There would be an actual conscious effort to not do it.
That's
if
right.
Will Smith is something that you actually kind of want to see, you'd watch it. Okay.
And so I think that kind of really talks about cancel culture. It's like, how much do people not like you, or how much are people angry about what you did?
Right. And does that override how much they want to see whatever art you happen to be doing? Like, well, I really want to see that. So I'm put my feeling aside.
You can hear the people, the ultra activists among us call for, canceling so-and-so. But really are the masses really going to cancel that person? Does what they have done really rise to the level where you're not going to get any more work? You're not going to get any more support? I don't think so. So that's just voices on the periphery.
All right. Okay. Well, you guys can let us know in the chat. We'll continue this. Kim's going to give some news. When we come back, I'll read some of your comments. Prince Harry, he gave that interview to Anderson Cooper. I just want to play you this little bit that just tugged at my heartstring when he was talking about, the passing of Princess Diana. And I understand. I don't know. I know, again, kind of the whole cancel thing with both the royalty and Prince Harry, but my heart broke when I was listening to him. Bottle Rock, the announcement of the lineup, we'll go through that as well. I heard you do this story with Mark, but I want to do it again. This technology that was made for us human beings is now going to be for your pet. And I'm just saying, have we jumped the shark with this sort of technology? Because I kind of think I kind of think we might have. So we'll talk all about that. Again, click the thumbs up button. It helps us out. And now some news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. The National Weather Service is urging drivers around the Bay Area, don't get caught. Don't do it. If it looks like it's flooded, don't even attempt. Never cross flooded roadways. California is getting hit with deadly weather. They say cars can float away with as little as 12 inches of water for a small vehicle, 18 to 24 inches for larger vehicles. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, flash flooding is the #1 related killer in the United States, weather-related killer in the U.S. Police have had to rescue drivers from Windsor to Santa Cruz. I'm telling you, police have had to pull people out of vehicles. Here's the Santa Cruz Mountains, Graham Hill Road. They had to make a couple rescues here. The Santa Cruz division of CHP is on board with the warning saying, don't make us come out there and get you people. Just don't even drive into it. Really. I mean, come on. The Russian River. I mean, I'm telling you, this is going to be, they're calling it now nuisance flooding. But the crest of the Russian River is expected to hit late tonight, early tomorrow morning. This is a picture from the Press Democrat. You can see the water covering a lot of trees there. It's going to crest level is 32 feet. Flood stage is 32 feet. They're thinking it's going to hit a little above that. So, residences and businesses right along the river probably going to be the hardest hit. The United States Postal Service says it delivered over 54 million ballots to voters, to and from voters, I should say, during the 2022 midterm elections. More than 95% also made it from voters to election officials in just 3 days. And that's between September 6th and December 6th. So the United States Postal Service taking some credit for that. The federal safety agency, I should say, getting ready to ban gas stoves over concerns that link them to childhood asthma. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says there are worries about dangerous indoor air pollutants that they emit. The agency may establish standards for those emissions or just ban gas stoves altogether. So if you have a gas stove in your house, it's something to consider, right? Actor Hugh Jackman says he never took steroids when playing the role of Wolverine. He just looked really good. Speaking on HBO's Who's Talking to Chris Wallace, Jackman said he did it the old school way, ate a lot of chickens to bulk up for the role. He says he's set to reprise his role as Wolverine in Marvel Studios' upcoming Deadpool 3. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve Moskowitz is at 888 Tax Deal, and check out his website, moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you so much, Kim. So thank you all for being here. Please click the thumbs up button. It supports our show. We appreciate all of you so much. We'll give some more shout outs to those that have been donating to the super chat, which is live on the show. It's a way for us to monetize everything on this show. So I might have to end the show a little bit early. I know many of you already know that my daughter has been dealing with a health issue. She actually is home right now. So, and thank you, Kim, for kind of doing an expanded news. So she's sick right now. So we might have to end a little bit early. Just want to be full disclosure, but I've got her situated in her bedroom right now. So
baby,
we'll see how long it goes. We'll see. Okay. So let me read some of these comments in the chat. We were talking about cancel culture and Mel Gibson. This was an interesting one, and I know that comparing crimes, I think, is the problem, right, that we're having here. Will Smith's crime versus Bill Cosby's versus Harry Weinstein's versus Louis C.K. If it's sexual, if it's against a woman versus a man, whether it's anti-Semitic, whether, it's like, well, how much do we care about that particular victimized group of people versus how much we enjoy whatever talent art that person creates? And that makes it difficult. Lori writes in, Will Smith was not serially victimizing people. Mel Gibson continually anti-Semitic and racist and abusive to women. True. He lost it. I mean, he went off the rocker. I don't know. I don't know what happened to that guy.
You remember that video of him yelling at that? Was it another driver? He was involved in some type of car accident and then was screaming like
Oh, was that
anti-Semitic
him?
things. That was what started the whole Mel Gibson thing, right?
Yeah, it's just he's just, and I feel like he's turned physically into this kind of hateful looking person, don't you? Like
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, oh, you're just kind of physically having to look a certain way because that's who you are. And he used to be so handsome. So Mel Gibson actually reminds me, according to Wes, a lot of Donald Trump, just a hateful, bitter person. I don't know, but canceling people, and I'm just gonna kind of put a finer point on this. I don't believe that cancel culture is a thing unless there is some sort of legal consequence for what a person has done. If Will Smith was arrested for hitting Chris Rock and was in jail, if not prison, yeah, I think that he's been a bit canceled, right? I think that Louis C.K. saying he's going to take some time to think about it and then sell sold out shows during that whole time he's thinking about it, not canceled. You don't get to be a victim from victimizing others. You just don't. It's absolute nonsense. So, okay, let's switch gears and talk about Prince Harry. I did not watch. Did you watch the entire 60 Minutes thing?
I haven't watched it, but I was reading the article about him on Anderson Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is so sad. Okay, so Prince Harry was on with Anderson Cooper, like Kim mentioned, and talking about a bunch of things. Obviously, like he admitted, he had a drug and alcohol problem, the fallout with his brother, fighting with his brother, being hit by his brother, all those sorts of things. And we've heard kind of variations of that story before. But it was what he said about Princess Diana that just got me so and choked up. And I think that it's, as a mom, as a parent, right? Your heart goes out to, every time I look at Harry, I see that little boy in the carriage with William and Diana. You know what I mean? And I just see this little boy that lost his mother. So here is, and you'll hear Anderson Cooper first, and then Prince Harry talking about the passing of Princess Diana.
You didn't believe she was dead?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone. Part of, she would never do this to us, but also part of maybe this is all part of a plan.
I mean, you really believe that maybe she had just decided to disappear for a time?
For a time, and then that she would call us and we would go and join her. Yeah.
How long did you believe that?
Years. Many, many years. And William and I talked about it as well. He had similar thoughts.
You write in the book, you say, I'd often say it to myself first thing in the morning, maybe this is the day. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is the day that she's going to reappear.
Yeah, hope. I had huge amounts of hope.
He held on to that hope into adulthood. When Harry was 20, he asked to see the police report about the crash that killed his mother, her boyfriend Dodi Al-Fayed, and their driver Henri Paul, while they were being pursued by paparazzi in a Paris tunnel.
The files contain photographs of the crash scene. Why did you want to see it?
Mainly proof that she was in the car, proof that she was injured, and proof that the very paparazzi that chased her into the tunnel were the ones that were taking photographs of her lying half dead on the backseat of the car.
You write, I hadn't been aware before this moment, talking about looking at the pictures of the crash scene, that the last thing Mummy saw on this earth was a flashbulb.
Yeah.
That's what you saw in the pictures?
Mm-hmm. Well, the pictures showed the reflection of a group of photographers taking photographs through the window, and the reflection of the window was them.
He only saw some of the crash photos. His private secretary and advisor dissuaded him from looking at the rest.
All I saw was the back of my mum's head, slumped on the back seat. There were other more gruesome photographs, but I will be eternally grateful to him for denying me the ability to inflict pain on myself by saying that, because that's the kind of stuff that sticks in your mind forever.
It is just so sad. The thing that got me, Kim, was just, on one hand, you say this is a child who's lost his mother and he really feels that, you know what I mean? On the other hand, the years, how many years did he hold on to hope until he saw those horrific pictures? that she was out there. And I don't know, it just breaks my heart. My heart goes out to this guy. I'm not really into the Royals. I don't follow it very closely. But it just breaks my heart. Nobody should lose their parent at such a young age and in such a horrific way. And so, yeah, that was on 60 Minutes with Anderson Cooper. I'm sure it's online.
I
You
guess
can
I
watch the
just
whole
have a
thing.
problem with the continued media presence. Like if you
Yeah.
want to be out of the public eye, if you want to protect your family from the paparazzi or what have you,
Mhm.
if you don't want your wife to get slammed with negative press, then why keep doing this? Why keep talking about it? Why keep putting yourself out there like that? And I feel like, if his point was to go away quietly and live a life of anonymity, he's failing at that.
Well, I don't think he knew. He's never going to be living a life like that. I think it's a call for help. I think he wants his family back. It's all he knows, but he's not able to get through to them in the
Family's
traditional
not coming
way.
back if you're spilling all the family secrets. Especially he has to know that, especially, in a family like that where duty comes first, where you have to maintain
That's
this
sad,
image
though.
to
That's
come
sad.
and batter that image over and over again. He's not doing himself any favors if what he wants is his family back.
Yeah. Let's bring in our good friend Steve Moskowitz and switch gears just a bit because that was really sad. And somebody that'll make you happy is, of course, Steve Moskowitz, because he can help us with all sorts of tax problems, HR, accounting. Do you qualify for ERC? Now, Steve, when people are calling you, it's January 9th, right? They probably think tax season is a ways away, but it's never too early.
Never a ways away. It's always with
Right?
us.
So what kind of
And
advice are you giving people in January to prepare?
so in January Prepare, we're talking to businesses about making pension contributions or setting up pensions. You say, oh, well, it's 2023. That's for next year, right?
Hmm.
But with most of the pensions, there's 24 different types. You can set them, a lot of them, you can set them up in 2023.
Wait, did you say there's 24 different types of pensions?
Yes, all kinds of different pensions.
Wow, I didn't even realize that. Okay.
And with a lot of them, you can set them up in 23, fund them in 23, but still deduct them from 22.
Oh.
Not to mention getting records together, in small businesses, a lot of times people aren't so sure, well, what's the proper treatment of this? Give them the proper treatment, and it really makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that when you're a small business and you have to do everything behind the scenes except the one thing that you actually got into business to do, it can be really overwhelming, but your company can help people with that.
We want to help you, and there's so much that we may be able to do for you. All you have to do is pick up the phone and calls.
Well, there you go. 888 tax deal. MoskowitzLLP.com is the website. 888 tax deal or Moskowitz.LLP.com. Thank you, Steve. We always appreciate you. Thank
Thanks,
you so
guys.
much.
Appreciate
All right,
you
yeah.
too.
Yeah. So
24 different types of pensions. You'd
I
think
know,
a
pension was
pension's
a
a
pension was a
pension,
pension. Yes.
right? Like, I mean, it's money for retirement. They pay you
You know,
every
Steve
month.
is totally laughing at us
Ah.
by saying
Oh,
something
he's
like
totally.
this. Like,
We're
he's
so
all,
ridiculous.
well,
He's
we're
like, you
so
guys could never do what I do. No, we couldn't.
no, we could not. No. You're absolutely correct. 24
But that's why
different
you need a
pensions.
Steve Moskowitz, right?
Exactly.
You need
I
the guy
mean,
who knows that there's 24 pensions and exactly what they mean to your tax liability or whatever.
well, and that's interesting because I'm sure a lot of people don't even know that they can have a pension. They're thinking that's a union thing. Oh, I don't have a union job. I can't get a pension.
Yeah.
You can set up your own pension.
Who
Think
knew?
about that and get all of these,
I
tax
didn't know
benefits for
that.
it.
I thought you had to have a company to have, like, there had to be I didn't know.
Yeah, Steve will explain it all to you, Kim McAllister, and to all of our viewers and listeners. So give him a call.
I need to make an
888 tax
appointment.
deal.
Something fierce. Yes.
MoskowitzLLP.com. Believe me, I already have one set up. Yeah, you definitely have to do it. So, and again, Steve has been such a huge supporter of our show, of Mark Thompson's show, of everybody's show, over from Station X to here. So he will do right by you, and that is why we love the fact that he is our exclusive founding sponsor. Okay, we have a couple more minutes left. I did want to get into. We talked a little bit about Bottle Rock. Have you ever been to Bottle Rock, Kim?
No, it's too expensive.
I know, right? I know my brother's like, I'm going to Bottle Rock. I'm like, good luck. Not only is the tickets expensive, but finding a place to stay, very expensive.
I wouldn't need a place to stay because, I mean,
Well, you
they're
can drive
Napa
far.
County. I'm Sonoma County.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
45
Well,
minutes down the road. It's fine.
from San Jose to there after
You
drinking
need
and
a place.
partying at Bottle Rock,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. But yeah, so
Well,
Bottle
maybe
Rock.
after drinking wine all day at the Bottle Rock VIP tent, you might need a little place to lay your head.
I think so. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Post
Yeah.
Malone, Lizzo, Duran Duran, Little Nas X, the Smashing Pumpkins. Let's see who else that people will know. Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, I'm skipping tons of people. Sheryl Crow. I haven't heard in forever.
I like
Carly
her.
Rae Jepsen, which I don't know why that made me laugh, but it does. And again, like I mentioned, the Stone Foxes. Now, Shannon Kohler used to work. Did he work? I don't know if he worked for he worked for one of our radio stations within our cluster, like our sister stations. Can't ever remember which one. But yeah, he's amazing. He's one of the lead singers of the Stone Foxes. They're amazing. I've never been able to see them live, but I've watched their videos. They're great. So, and they posted on Twitter that they're so stoked to be at Bottle Rock this year. So that is absolutely huge.
So I'm looking up prices. All right.
Okay, please lay it on me.
For the VIP section,
Mm-hmm.
$644 tickets each.
Now, is that for 3 days or each day?
I think that's a 1-day ticket.
Shoot.
Yeah.
What do I get for VIP?
Oh, I don't know exactly. On VIP, restrooms, expanded views from the view deck at the main and second stages,
Okay.
up close prime viewing areas of each stage, separate fast lane festival entrance and exits.
Okay. So you don't have to be with the lowly people. I get it. Okay. All
No.
right.
For the sky deck,
Sky Deck. Is that above? Is that
unparalleled
above
views of
VIP?
you get culinary and second stages, spacious shaded areas at both sky decks, all inclusive beer, cocktails, wine, and sky deck bars. $5,175.
Ooh. I mean, that's like that's techie money, right?
Then
that's
there's
all that is.
it's about $10,000 to sit in the platinum section.
Okay.
That's cocktail service, exclusive access, all the bells and whistles with the
Is the cocktails included in that price, or do I still have to pay for them?
I'm thinking with 10 grand, your cocktails are
I
included.
don't know, man. They just nickel and dime your ass. I swear
The
to God.
lounge features daily signature dishes, gourmet bites, cocktails, and craft beer. Easy access. That's the platinum section. General
Wow.
admission, $328 for 1 day.
For 1 day. Is there a deal for all 3 tickets?
I don't know.
I mean,
Price per ticket.
because the headliners are going to be split up between all 3 days,
Yeah,
right?
they do.
So
They have a headliner every day.
oh, it's so
Yeah.
expensive. And so, yeah, I mean, good luck if you can go. Take pictures, send them in to us when it's happening. It's happening Memorial Day weekend, I think is normally when it is. So have fun if you can afford it. I will just live vicariously through your pictures because that's not happening. That's just not happening for me.
People videotape it and put it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And so I just watch if anything big happens or if there's a really great song, I'll just click and how did Lizzo do it at Bottle Rock? And I'll find the video and that's all I need.
Exactly.
Because if I was telling Mark this earlier, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go. And there's no way I'm spending $10,000 for Sky Deck tickets.
Hell no.
So no.
That has to be like a business write-off. I should ask Steve Moscow. I mean, like if I buy Bottle Rock tickets and I take you and we broadcast a YouTube short from there, can I write it off on my taxes? Now that's an idea. That's a question. That's a question.
You wouldn't be able to write off the whole thing, right? It would only give
I don't know.
30% off or something. No,
I got
don't
Steve
do it.
Moskowitz on my side. He'll explain it to me. I don't know. You're probably right. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. I will possibly have a show for you guys tomorrow. I have some appointments to take my daughter to. She has her infusion. For those of you just joining us, my daughter, who has given me permission to share this, of course, on YouTube, she has Crohn's. And so we have issues that pop up and crop up. And anybody with that terrible, terrible disease knows that. And so she is incapacitated right now. So I'm going to tend to my daughter. I will try to record something today for tomorrow. But I will definitely be back live on Wednesday. We have a bunch to talk about. I do want to get to that GPS Fitbit for pets, which is just... I don't understand it. If I put that S on Nugget, he'd be looking at me like I was nutso. Again, before we go, I want to give some shout outs to everyone that's been giving us some love because you guys are so awesome. Andreas has been a very generous supporter of the show. He has given us $20, $10, another $10, and started us off with $20 and some love for my 49ers. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I understand that not everybody can donate the same amount, but we appreciate you, Andreas. But we appreciate everyone else as well. James, $5.
Thank you, James.
Harry, $10. Meredith, $20. We love all of you so
Thank
very
you.
much. It warms my heart. I love the community that we've created together. I appreciate you all so much. I appreciate you, Kim McAllister. So again, I love you. Oh, and can I just give a whole public thank you to Kim McAllister, who from here on forth I will think of every time I take a poop, because she got me for Christmas that just arrived the Squatty Potty. Still in the box. I haven't tried it all yet. That might be a YouTube short. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody wants to see that. But thank you. I love you. You're the best. I love you all. We will talk again soon. And everybody have a fabulous day. Stay safe. Stay dry. Don't be crazy and driving in those flooded roads. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.